Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to build a simple AI. And to do it, we're going to use two guides. Think of one as our blueprints. That's a popular tech tutorial. And the other? That's our conscience, a critical research paper on AI ethics. So what happens when you smash these two worlds together? Let's find out. It really does seem like magic, right? How on earth does a computer learn to actually understand what we're saying? Well, it all kicks off with this really fundamental task, one that companies are using every single day for things like filtering out spam or figuring out what customers are saying. And this task has a name. And that name is text classification. It's really just about teaching a machine to read something and then stick a label on it, put it in the right bucket. You can kind of think of it like a digital sorting hat, but for words.
Okay, so to make this feel real, let's give ourselves a project. We're going to build a simple little AI that can analyze movie reviews. And for this, we'll be using a popular tutorial from Hugging Face as our technical blueprint. The goal? Super simple. Read a movie review and decide, is it positive or is it negative?
All right, first things first in any AI project. You need data. And usually, you need a lot of it. Seems simple enough, right? But this is the very first place where our two guides, the blueprint and the conscience, start to butt heads. So our technical blueprint is like, hey, no problem. Just load up the IMDb dataset. It's this massive public collection of movie reviews, and they're all nicely labeled for us, positive or negative. Super convenient. Easy peasy, right? Let's just grab it and get going. But hold on, our ethical conscience, this really important white paper, slams on the brakes. It hits us with this powerful idea. Raw data is an oxymoron. There's just no such thing. See, data isn't some natural resource that you just dig up out of the ground. Data is made by people, and that immediately brings up some really tough questions. Think about it. Did the thousands of people who wrote these reviews on IMDb have any idea they'd be used to train some company's AI model? Did they consent to that? Are we respecting their privacy? And this is what our ethical conscience is screaming at us. The choices we make right now, at the very start, are going to shape everything that comes after. This is the foundation we're building. Okay, so after wrestling with all those data ethics questions, let's just say for the sake of the project, we decide to move forward. Now we get to the really cool part, training a model. This is where the machine actually starts to learn. So the technical blueprint lays out three main steps. First, we got to pre-process the text. That's basically just cleaning it up so the machine can read it. Next, we pick a pre-existing model to work with, something like Distilbert, which is a really popular choice. And then the last step is to fine-tune it. We take that general model and train it specifically on our movie review data to teach it the one job we want it to do. But you guessed it, this choice isn't just about the tech specs. Our ethical conscience pops up again and points out a huge trade-off. We could use a giant, super complex model. It might get a better score, sure, but it also has a massive carbon footprint. The alternative? A smaller, more energy-efficient model. Sounds great, right? But that compression can sometimes make the model less fair, meaning it performs worse for underrepresented groups. So you're stuck in this tough balancing act between performance, the planet, and fairness. Okay, so we've trained our model. Now it's time to see how it did. This is the moment of truth, right? We get to find out if all that work actually paid off. And we get our score, 92%. Our model is 92% accurate at telling if a review is positive or negative. That sounds amazing. I mean, that's a solid A. So we're done, right? Project's a success? But not so fast. Our ethical conscience steps back in and asks a much, much tougher question. Sure, a high overall score is great, but is that really the whole story? And this is where things get really stark. Just look at this. That 92% overall score looks fantastic on the surface. And hey, it's even better, 95% on reviews that talk about sci-fi stuff. But look what happens when we test it on reviews written in African-American English. The accuracy just tanks all the way down to 65%. This is the perfect example of how a single big average number can hide some really serious problems. It's masking a huge failure for a specific group of people. And that's not just a bad grade, that's a bias that can cause real harm out in the world. Okay, so let's imagine we've worked on these problems and we think our model is ready to go. Now we can actually use it. This is called inference, basically letting it make a prediction on some new text it's never seen before.
So we give it a brand new review, one that wasn't in its training set. This is the real test, right? Did it actually learn what we tried to teach it?
And bam, it works. The model nails it, correctly calling the review positive. From a pure coding perspective, this is it. We've reached the finish line. The code does what it's supposed to do. But our ethical conscience reminds us that just because the code runs doesn't mean our work is done. Because putting a model out into the world means you have to think about its real-world impact. And that ethics paper lays out some really serious risks that go way beyond our little movie review project. What if this kind of tech is used for censorship? What if it just ends up amplifying existing biases and stereotypes? Or what if it accidentally leaks someone's private information that it memorized from the training data? So what have we seen here? What starts out as just a technical coding exercise is actually a journey through a really complex and sometimes pretty tricky moral landscape. It turns out that every single choice matters, from the data you pick at the very beginning to the model you train, all the way to how you even define success. So the real takeaway is this. The big question isn't, can we build AI anymore? It's, how do we build it right? Because that technical blueprint, well, it's just not enough on its own. You need the ethical conscience to go with it. Thanks for watching.